Hey, 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 happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. Welcome aboard. Tonight is Wednesday, November 3rd, 2021. This is live stream 712. Man, they're just racking up, aren't they? If this is your first time joining me, let me point out, it's super casual, just kicking back, relaxing, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, as well as taking first looks at tabletop games. Tonight, it is a War Game Wednesday, so I am going to unbox and take a first look at Help Arrives from Draco Ideas. They are out of Spain. This is a Spanish Civil War board game. Looks very interesting as well. So we're going to crack this on open and dive in just a bit. It's one of the things that I do always point out. If you've not watched the stream before, keep in mind that we tackle the tabletop gaming news first, and then we do our unboxing. So it's about 30 minutes or so. So if you're watching live, kick back, relax, or come back in about 30 minutes if you don't want to catch the latest in tabletop gaming news. If you're watching after the fact, well, then all you got to do is take a peek at the timestamps, and you can click on a timestamp and jump right to that part of the video. All right, should also point out, if you like this video, by all means, give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already, and if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my upcoming review of Hidden Strike, American Revolution from Worthington Publishing. That's right. This is going to be out this weekend. So stay tuned. Got a lot of stuff cooking, really. I got quite a few irons in the fires. So you will see a good number of reviews this weekend. Not necessarily all from me either. So some more gaming, some regular board gaming, some role-playing games. Nice mix. All right. Should also point out, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, go visit thegaminggang.com to check out some of those reviews I'm talking about, as well as the latest in tabletop gaming news. Come on, you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And lastly, I do want to also mention that since this is a live stream, that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay, but I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe you got a question, comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. First out the gate tonight is the Madman. That's right. The Motor City Madman is with us. He is one of our chat moderators. John Vogel is with us as well, asking, is this a War Game Wednesday? It is a War Game Wednesday. And for the next 2 Wednesdays after, we have War Game Wednesdays. So there we go. All right, let's jump on into the news because okay, so once I'm done with this news piece, I'm kind of up in the air on, I think it's available if you order it through the company's website, but I don't think it's hitting retailers until next year. So I will talk about that. But arriving in February from XYZ Game Labs is an interesting looking title. It's called Arch Ravels. Here's the dope. Hook and stitch your way to the top. It all starts pretty simple. You just want to be a bit crafty. You think you'll make yourself a nice hat or a comfy scarf, but before you know it, you've got more yarn than you know what to do with, and new project ideas are popping up daily. What better way to motivate you and your fellow ravelers to power through those works in progress than a little friendly competition? Now's your chance to make a splash crafting in the community. In Arch Ravels, you compete against your friends and rivals to craft patterns, fulfill special requests, and complete projects. Manage your time and stash effectively to earn the most points and get yourself a little craft circle bragging rights. Play as one of 8 characters, each with their own crafting specialty. Shop the Yarn Bazaar to build up your stash. Follow your patterns to make a variety of crafty creations like cuddly bears, warm blankets, and cozy scarves. Turn in your completed items to master a pattern, finish projects, and score points. Earn bonus points by completing unique, one-of-a-kind special requests that are inspired by pop culture and the fiber arts community. When the project list runs out, the crafter with the most points wins. Arch Rivals is for 2 to 4 players, ages 8 and up. Plays in 30 to 45 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $45. When it arrives, I'm not sure. So I have to point out, I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe XYZ Game Labs is actually out of Chicago. So they're local to me. So I think you can actually order this game off of their website right now. I think, I'm not positive, but I think you can. And distributors are pointing out that it's going to be arriving in February of next year. So it is very possible that you can get it from the XYZ Game Labs website now or wait until next year and get it retail. But I got to say, this looked kind of interesting. It caught my eye. I was like, well, that's certainly a different sort of theme for a game, right? Artwork looks pretty good. Component quality looks pretty interesting as well. Might be worth taking a peek at. All right, we got a bunch of people popping into chat right now. So Omanal has joined us, pointing out that Arch Ravels looks like a game that would be good for their mom. Boris is with us. Kevin R. Smith has joined us. It's Mew is in chat. It's been a little while since we've seen It's Mew. Sarah D is popping out. She's usually kind of hanging in the background. Good to see you, Sarah. Saying that she feels attacked by this game. They don't have that much yarn. It's calling Sarah out. This game is calling Sarah out. Omanal says, Afghans for all. Flaming Herons with us as well. Both of our chat moderators are hanging out in chat with us tonight. Let's move on to our next news piece, because up on the GMT Games P500 pre-order listing is Baltic Empires, the Northern Wars of 1558 to 1721. Here's the latest. Baltic Empires is an approachable 2 to 5 player strategy game about conflicts between the states of the Baltic region during the early modern era, a transformative period of religious conflict, large-scale warfare, and constant struggles for power. Players will have to develop their economy, strengthen their administration, secure trade hubs, and finally build armies to become the dominant power of the Baltics. Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Russia, Poland, Lithuania, and Prussia will fight for hegemony using variable victory conditions that reflect their respective historical objectives. During the 16th and 17th century, religious conflicts between Protestants and Catholics swept Europe. Vast colonies were established by the maritime powers, and a series of wars were fought against Louis XIV's Kingdom of France to maintain the balance of power, eventually culminating in the War of Spanish Succession. While this history might be familiar to many, the related conflicts around the Baltic Sea that took place during these centuries are less well known. Where did the French, English, and Dutch acquire the materials they needed to build and maintain their vast navies that won them their colonial empires? Where did they acquire the food they needed to feed their sailors and growing populations? Where did the Swedish juggernaut that suddenly emerged and changed the course of the 30 Years' War come from? And why didn't its great power status last? How did the Russian and Prussian empires that became so powerful in later periods first emerge on the European stage? The Baltic region was crucial to the history of Europe, and the conflict for influence over the Baltic Sea was closely intertwined with the balance of power in Western Europe. The outcome of the wars and societal transformation in the Baltic region, from the collapse of the Teutonic Order in Livonia in 1558 to the end of the Great Northern War in 1721, shaped European and world history up to the present day. Baltic Empires presents these less well-known conflicts in a fun and accessible format, while also doing justice to the fascinating history of the Baltic Sea region during this period. The game features 5 asymmetric factions with different strengths, forces, and historical objectives, along with the capacity to develop their states by investing in economic infrastructure and recruiting key historical characters that offer unique game effects. The game also includes several scenarios for variable player counts and durations, offering additional flexibility and replayability. Baltic Empires is for 2 to 5 players, ages 14 and up, plays around 2 to 8 hours, all depending on what scenario you're diving into. Can be pre-ordered right now for the P500 price of $65. It will carry an expected retail MSRP of $95. I have got to say, this is very interesting. I am very curious about this game because it looks like it tackles a subject that I am near ignorant about. And that's one of the aspects of a lot of GMT games that I really love, is that there'll be a topic that that game is in particular is tackling that I know very little about, but I am interested in. And I get educated. I get edumacated at the same time, huh? Get to have fun playing some games and get an edumacation. This looks pretty cool. I believe this is very close to crossing the 500 order threshold. I don't recall exactly if it was or not, but I could have swore I thought it was close. I thought it was close around. And I know I've said it before, 500 pre-orders does not guarantee that the game is going to go to print from GMT. They usually like to get closer to like 700 or 800. So let's talk a little role-playing game news, because Tuesday Night Games has launched a Kickstarter to bring their popular science fiction survival RPG Mothership to the masses in a new boxed set. Here's the skinny. Welcome to Mothership, the award-winning sci-fi horror tabletop RPG, where you and your crew try to survive in the most inhospitable environment in the universe, outer space. You'll excavate dangerous derelict spacecraft, explore strange unknown worlds, encounter hostile alien life, and examine the horrors encroaching upon your every move. Mothership is built on a rules-light D100 chassis with custom rules for stress and panic, streamlined mechanics for violent encounters, and a world-class, easy-to-learn character creation system. The game has been in development since 2017 and has won numerous awards since its release. This box set updates our early release edition and completes it, making this the official first edition. Ever since I started playing role-playing games, not me personally, person who is writing this, My favorite product has always been the box set. Traveler, Dungeons and Dragons, Star Frontiers, Cyberpunk 2013, they all come in amazing little boxes filled with endless wonder and fun. Since we started making Mothership, it's been our dream to collect it into an amazing box set, just like we used to have as kids. And now that we have, we're so excited to share it with you. This box set contains everything you need to play. An updated player survival guide. This has all the core rules you need, including character creation, how to play, violent encounters, stress and panic, shore leave, weapons and equipment, and more. There is the new Warden's Operations Manual, what every warden needs to run the game. The book takes you from prepping your first session to running it to prepping the rest of your campaign. It's chock full of simple advice to improve your horror game, as well as basic procedures for preparing great scenarios for your players. Then there's also the new Unconfirmed Contact Reports. The secret sauce of any good horror game is the horrors themselves. Unconfirmed Contact Reports is your guide to running terrifying encounters with strange entities and horrendous abominations. It comes complete with a section of designing your own horrors and over 40 unique, fully illustrated monstrosities of our own. There's also the new monochrome D100 set and Hazard Yellow Panic Die. Mothership runs exclusively, with one nasty exception, on D10s, and we've included a beautiful black and white set for you in this box. We're also including a brand new die in this set, a D20 we called the Panic Die. Used only for panic checks, this is the bad die. Damn you, panic check die! The bad die. Kind of like the bad seed. The one you never want to touch. That die, that is. And we've got in a great hazard yellow color, so it'll be sure to stand out. These 3 saddle-stitched books and a pair of dice are all you'll need for endless hours of fun and terror. The box is the perfect size to throw in your bag and take to your friend's house, local gaming store, or a convention. There is a short Kickstarter video for the Mothership box set. So let's take a peek.
I'm Alan Girding.
And I'm Sean McCoy.
And we're Tuesday Night
Games.
I'm so glad you made it this far in the video. That's an accomplishment.
Thank you so much for joining us on this campaign. We're so excited about the box set. We have tons of great stretch goals lined up. We've got things like cardstock pawns, a poster map, a warden screen, even new books like the Shipbreaker's Toolkit, and a starter module called Another Bug Hunt.
But that's not all, Sean, because on our YouTube channel, we've got a whole bunch of content coming your way. We call it TKTV. Every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, we will have some Mothership content. We're going to have a Q&A session with the designer himself, Sean McCoy, business partner. We're going to have an actual play. We're going to have a comparison between the original early release of Mothership versus this box set. What are the differences? Tune in, find out.
Thank you guys so much for watching this. The box set has been a huge dream of ours, so tell all your friends and be sure to pledge today.
You can reserve a copy of the standard Mothership box set for a $59 pledge, or you can grab the deluxe box set, which includes a trio of printed adventures, for a $99 pledge through December 2nd. And expected delivery is November of next year. So I do see that Boris was pointing out that it comes out to $122 Canadian. But keeping in mind, the $99 pledge level is for the box set and a trio of adventures as well. I'm just sharing the image of everything that comes with the $99 one. But yes, you can get just the standard, which is what I had talked about coming in the box, right? The Warden Operations Manual, Player's Book, the bestiary, I guess we'll say, your dice. That is the $59 one. Because I do see there was some discussion going on that, man, that's a bit expensive. Kevin R. Smith has joined us. Good to see you, Kevin. Talking about they're going to be actually playing Mothership this weekend at AcadeCon. I'm not sure where that's at. That's kind of cool. And that might help them decide if it's worth backing the Kickstarter for. One of the things that I always have to toss out there is there are a lot of great games and bad game masters, and there are a lot of bad games and great game masters. So I don't know. I have a hard time sitting in on a game, and especially if I'm not familiar with what it is, and trying to understand, trying to figure out, so was the adventure that good? Or was the game master that good and the adventure probably wasn't all that great? Anyway, Omenal says it'll be interesting to see what the Kickstarter goals are. Yes, there are quite a few of them. This has just launched and it is doing very, very well. So let's move on to another role-playing game Kickstarter. This one, time is running out on. And Pinnacle Entertainment Group is actually in the final hours of their Savage Worlds Holler Kickstarter. Here's the scoop. Maybe I should start channeling the characters from Justified. Holler is a role-playing game of adventure, rebellion, fairy tale, and gothic horror in Appalachia. Requires the best-selling, multiple award-winning Savage Worlds rules. In Holler, the mysterious big boys own the mines, mills, and logging operations. They rule over every aspect of their workers' lives, subjecting them to extraordinary dangers on the job and crushing oppression outside of it. The big boys have transformed the land of the Holler. Rivers bubble with strange chemicals, strip mine mountains crumble into valleys, and the air is choked with a toxic fog known as the blight. The flora and fauna of the Holler grow more monstrous by the day. Demons of every description lurk in the forests. Mutant cryptids haunt villages with their strange cries and appetites. Vengeful haints leer from abandoned shacks and lonely cliffs. No one is coming to save the people of Holler. They've got to take matters into their own hard-worked hands. It'll take miners, granny women, gougers, moonshiners, bluegrass pickers, and holy rollers willing to fight and die to protect their culture, customs, and families. Folks who have the bravery to stare straight into the abyss and spit in its eye. The goal of the resistance is to build a coalition. A coalition? It's not spelled right. To bring together diverse factions, humble workers, roustabouts, mountain men, Dirty track racers. You dirty track racer. It's actually dirt track racers. Cultists and even strange creatures of myth and legend to raise the works of the big boys and drive them from the holler forever. Forever. Holler draws deeply on Appalachian history, mythical folklore, and culture to create a dark fantasy world of apocalypse and vengeance set in Gothic locales such as Corncob Gap, Cussfoot Fens, Ghost Ridge Mountains, Great Craggy Mountains, Fayfall, Hogback Hills, Piney Dirge Plateau, Sootstone Mountains, and the Stygian Mountains. It contains new edges and hindrances, new arcane backgrounds, rules for the ever-present blight, a passel of strange critters, including the Mothman. Wonder if he's got any prophecies to share. The Sheep Squatch, and the notorious big boys themselves. Dozens of locations such as Mount Everlasting, Devil's Den, and Fairy Flats. A fully fleshed out adventure generator and a wild ride of a plot point campaign called Blasted Beauty. There is a short Kickstarter video for this, but I cannot play the audio because it'll get me a copyright strike. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of watch the video and I'll just, narrate it like an idiot. So here we go. Zip it, Pinnacle Entertainment Group presents The Big Boys Have Come to the holler. They want its coal. They want its timber. They want its labor. And with them, they bring blight, monsters. Okay, it was a little early on the monsters. Machines of Doom. I like the artwork. Will you cower in the darkness? Oh, yes, I would be. I certainly would be. Or rise up together and fight. Just need dueling banjos playing in the background. Holler in an Appalachian apocalypse. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I know. It's a poor substitution for the actual audio, but it's like, I don't want a copyright strike. So the Madman says that they backed this. Well, I got to point out, you only have, I don't know, about 25 hours, 24 hours left to support this. But it has already passed the 1,400% funding mark. You can reserve a copy of the box set for $125 pledge. And that includes pretty much everything. Or you can get everything digitally for a $75 pledge through tomorrow. Now, I just showed you the 175 pledge that's got loads and loads of stuff in it. But it's got like decks of cards and things like that. Expected delivery for the digital aspects of this is actually January. So that's pretty nice. And for the actual physical products, you're looking at next June. Man says, I'm rising up and fighting. They're looking forward to getting this. This does look kind of interesting. I got to say, a lot of the Savage World settings in that, they seem pretty cool. I'm just not completely sold on the Savage World system. But then again, I'm really not sold on any system. I think there's problems with Call of Cthulhu as well, and I've been running that for 4 decades. So I'm not happy with any system. In fact, I'll talk a little bit about that when I finish up the news. All right. Anyway, once again, you've only got about 24 hours if you want to back Holler for Savage Worlds. There's a new Rules Light Sword and Sorcery RPG that's arrived in print and PDF from LakeSide Games. Here's what I know about Buy This Axe, I Hack. Welcome to a world of sword and sorcery. Before the dawn of recorded history, our world was a primeval landscape dotted with pockets of civilization, kingdoms, nations, and city-states surrounded by a vast and unforgiving wilderness, teeming with danger and littered with the fallen ruins of an ancient empire of mighty sorcerer lords and the remnants of older, darker civilizations. Based on David Black's game-changing The Black Hack, By This Axe I Hack takes its cues from Robert E. Howard's Conan the Barbarian and Cull of Atlantis, Roy Thomas and Barry Windsor Smith's Red Sonja, Michael Moorcock's Elric of Melniboné, and my favorite, Fritz Leiber's Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser. Although, I got to admit, I don't find Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser fall into this category, and neither do I think Elric fall into this category as easily as Conan, Cull, and of course, obviously, Red Sonja. By This Axe I Hack includes 18 unique character classes, 6 warriors, 6 rogues, and 6 magicians. A magic system that makes even low-level magicians exciting and fun to play. 120 spells tailored to the sword and sorcery genre. Over 70 special features to customize your characters. Rules for modifying existing character classes or creating your own. A huge assortment of men and monsters to throw at your players. A number of optional rules to help you fine-tune the game to exactly your liking, including the ever-popular roll high option for those who prefer games where higher rolls are always better. Goes to 11. I'm telling you, it's better than 10. It goes to 11. Also includes a variety of random tables to help game masters create their own Lost Age. You can score the 120-page softcover of By This Axe I Hack at Drive-Thru RPG for $14.95, or just grab the PDF alone for $9.95. Could be kind of interesting. I'm kind of interested in this. I like the old swords and sorcery. I'm kind of curious. I like the Black Hack. Once again, it is another system that I dig, but it's not perfect. Especially as far as like the OSR and fantasy. Alrighty, that is it for the news tonight. Do want to mention, since I was just talking about Drive-Thru RPG, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, are affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, Drive-Thru RPG, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. And there are a lot of people who actually do use our banner ads, and I really, really do appreciate it very much. Also, do have to point out, if you like this video, if you like the channel, if you like what I do, if you dig thegaminggang.com, you can always buy me a cup of coffee or soda, diet right, by going to paypal.me/thegaminggang. And we have quite a few people who do that as well. So there is some discussion about Savage Worlds. I know the Madman is a big fan. He is our resident. I would consider the Madman to be our resident Savage Worlds expert because he runs quite a few of the settings. And I believe he's still running his, was it East Texas University? Kind of Buffy the Vampire Slayer-ish sort of game. The Madman says they emptied their drive-through wish list last night and commented on last night's show too. Yes, I did see your comment, Madman. I will point out I am not going to do an auction this Saturday for Extra Life. We'll do something before Christmas. we'll do something. We'll set something up. It'll be on a Saturday, and I will do a live auction, AMA auction slash AMA, and it will benefit the Extra Life for Kids and the Children's Miracle Network of hospitals. Funny thing is, I mean, it was one thing when we used to just play games, and then we also did some giveaways of games to like the people who made the biggest donation during the 2 hour block of what we were playing. And it's got to be tough for people when it's that day because you've got all these like C-list celebrities who are involved in gaming doing stuff all on the same day, and a lot of conflict going on there as far as what do you watch, right? So, hey, I was surprised at how many people we actually had tuning in. I thought we were going to be spending our time just by ourselves. So yes, Flaming Iron says the Madman single-handedly supporting the gaming gang. No, that is not true. Hey, I'll tell you right now, if I had to rely on what I made for Drive-Thru RPG to stick around, I wouldn't be around. I always say helps keep the gaminggang.com around, right? I always talk about the website with that because I mention it from time to time. I've mentioned it too much, probably. What comes in from Drive-Thru RPG pretty much normally takes care of the hosting charge, the hosting bill for the gaminggang.com. But as far as like paying for equipment or traveling to conventions and things like that, oh God, no. Oh, so the Madman says they wrapped up ETU and now they're on Rippers, Victorian Horror. Another setting that looked pretty interesting, I have to admit. So before we jump in, we're going to be taking a look at Help Arrives in just a second. So I love role-playing games. I'm a huge fan of role-playing games. My favorite is Call of Cthulhu. If you follow the show, you know that already. You already know that I do reviews of all different, C of C. We don't call it COC. We always called it C of C. And even that system's not perfect. I have problems with that system too that I tweak. It's like I am not a big fan of the latest edition where they've got like the difficult and then they have extreme and you have the percentage of the percentile chance already. And me personally, I still use it's going to be a little tougher. So I'm going to give you a -10 on that. I don't sit there and be like, okay, so that is going to be 16% of 47%. You want to figure that out? Oh, and then 5% chance of that it's a critical. It's like, no. No. My OSR stuff, I'm kind of, I use a bunch of different stuff from different settings. Although I got to admit, I did start looking at Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea because I backed the 3rd edition Kickstarter. I have heard good things about it. And I got my hands on I think it's the Player's Handbook, whatever is like the basic rules. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. And then I get to the point where it's like the to hit matrix. And I'm like, oh. It's not far away from Thaco. So like I said, I'm never satisfied. Never. Anyway, so a couple of other quick things. The RuneQuest starter set is in transit. So we are going to get a chance to take a look at that. It's coming like media mail. So it could be Monday it shows up. It could be a week from Monday it shows up. So media mail kind of all over the place. So that is on its way. I did touch base with Chris Spivey, and Chris is sending a physical copy of Haunted West. So I will be doing the review, and we will actually do a first look video as well. So Omenal says simple rules help get people into games. I agree. And it helps keep them in games. I like a little bit of crunch, but I don't want a ton of crunch. In fact, can't really discuss too much of it because it's still under embargo. I can't share my review for the new edition of Twilight 2000 from Free League Publishing until the 16th. But I will let you know that it is actually the crunchiest of any of their games that I've run across. Kevin says, haven't really tried Free League system, but the Cypher system is awesome to run. That is what powers Invisible Sun and, of course, Numenera, which we talked about, that fantastic bundle over at Humble Bundle for $1. Get all the core books if you want to jump in. And it's not the first edition of Numenera, it's the new stuff. So there you have it. So Omenal says they couldn't get into Numenera for years, and last month it suddenly appealed to them. It's weird how those things happen. Also, should point out, I'm kind of bouncing around. I might actually do some videos where I take a look at the Player's Handbook and Dungeon Master's Guide and the Monster Manual. Bouncing that around. I mean, they're not going to be crazy deep dives, but I think there are people out there who have never seen what the books really look like. Might be interested in seeing what that is. Boris says, crunches for cookies, coffees for closers. All right. So I'm sure there are folks hanging out who've been waiting to see Help Arrives from Draco Ideas. It is designed by Nicholas SQB. And artwork is actually also provided by the designer. The game is for 2 players, ages 14 and up. Plays in 2 hours or more. I'm assuming that is going to be based on the scenario you might be playing. Does carry an MSRP of 60 euros. I do not have the equivalent MSRP in dollars. So this is actually arriving on American shores right now. Let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Help Arrives. I'm going to grab a quick sip here. So Draco Ideas is out of Spain. And it's kind of interesting because I've mentioned this when I was talking about we're going to take a look at this. I mentioned that there are not a lot of war games that tackle the Spanish Civil War. I mean, there are some. There are a few. But not as many as you would actually think. And I think part of the reason is because, from what I understand, it is still a very touchy subject in Spain all this time later. So, tell you a little bit about what we got on the back here. I'm not going to read everything. For one, this is in Spanish on that side. On July 18th, 1936, a failed coup d'etat against the government of the Second Republic in Spain led to a conflict that divided the country for 3 years as a prelude to the Second World War. As a preamble to war in Europe, Spain became a testing ground for the armies and the tactics that would fight in Europe. The Republic received... That's kind of weird. It's like, so the Republic received from the USSR. Okay. It's like, yeah, what? What did they receive? And also formed the international brigades with volunteers from over 50 countries, while the German Condor Legion and the Italian Corpo Troppe Volontarie, I'm sure that was not even close, supported Franco's army. These forces fought alongside very different troops, professional army, popular militias, and the African army, made up of veteran troops from the wars in Morocco. Warstorm series is a wargame saga of hex encounters designed to simulate platoon-scale combined arms combat on a platoon scale. Oh, Draco Ideas. Got to work on the localization a little bit. Work on the localization a little. Each unit represents groups of 30 to 40 soldiers or 3 to 5 vehicles and their crews. The map scale is 150 to 200 meters per hex and 12 to 15 minutes of action per turn. The rules are organized by sections to ease the learning curve so that you can start playing by just finishing the first section. All right. We're just going to jump on in. There was more to be read. Let's crack this on open. I'll tell you one thing that I had noticed, and I do have an extra board and extra counter sheet that we'll take a look at. Well, the first thing I noticed about this game was I found the counter artwork to be very striking. All right, so we have exclusive rules. Then we have this. Okay, so we've got the standard rules for this system. And then we've got the rules that are specific to help arrives. And then looks like this might be scenario info. So let's start taking a look at this stuff. So first off, let's take a look at the Warstorm version 2.1. So we've got our basic rules, our introduction. Talking about platoons and troops, stacking, different phases. So, okay, so what we got? Sequence of play. We got the command phase, initiative phase, activation phase, performing actions, marker removal phase, and I think that is it. Kind of cleanup at the end. So we've got our different types of terrain. Talking about spotting. All right, we've got attacking, reaction. Got some examples here. One thing I will point out, there seems to be quite a few examples. We've got morale, routing, rallying. Then we've got scenarios. Just going to discuss heavy weapons and transports. So I believe these first 21 pages will get you enough information to actually start playing Help Arrives. And then, right here, see, it says now you can try scenario 1. It's suggested you play it twice, once as each side, so you can practice basic defensive and offensive infantry tactics. So Omanal says they used to love war games like this in their teens. So Boris says $60 equals 51.2 euros. All right, so what is 60 euros to dollars? Because this is 60 euros, not $60. I know it's more. So I think I would take a guess it's going to be like 60.99 or like 72.99, somewhere around that. Did I say 60.99? 69.99 is what I was thinking. Let's go some artillery rules, transport rules. So we got officers, reconnaissance, assault. The funny thing is, I noticed the back of the box says this is a medium complexity. It's like, looking a little more complex than medium complexity. All right, so $69.69. So pretty close. So I thought $69.99. Any car, any color, $99.99. Here at Earl Shab. So we got cavalry, armored fighting vehicles. Now I think these are just various different rules that might come into play depending on what game in the series you may be playing. So we've got risky action, air support, anti-aircraft. All right. And those are the standard rules, clocking in at what, about 50 pages? Close, 46. So we've got that. All right. Help arrives. The exclusive rules, these are pretty short. These are only a few pages. So we have platoons without formation assigned. Talking about the different units, different terrain types. I'm looking at hedgerow as I'm trying to say terrain. So we've got some campaign rules, victory points in campaign scenarios, reinforcements in campaign scenarios, night turns, designing a point-based scenario. So we've got the different companies and point costs. That's pretty wild. So if you wanted to create your own scenarios, you easily can. So pretty short there. All right. So this looks like, okay, so this is solo mode for Alone in the Storm. So these are Intel marker conversions. This looks like this is for the taking on the game solo, or at least taking on a scenario solo, but it says Alone in the Storm. Very interesting. This looks very interesting. Okay, so let's get into some of the game boards. Because we have 4, and then I've got an extra one that came as well. So that is the 5th game board. I don't know if this was maybe possibly a crowdfunding add-on, or if this is like a mini expansion of some sort. But it's only one side. You know, since we're gonna be looking at the counters in that, let's zoom all the way in. Let's give you a better look at the terrain here. These are really nicely done. Especially, look, there's like a little village. I really like the map artwork here. Definitely digging that. Okay, so that was the extra one that I got. So here's board A. So we got another town of some sort as well. We got some roads. Okay, this looks like this is some hills on board B, as well as quite a bit of forest. We've got board C with a river. So we've got a bridge, so we've got a river crossing there. And then we have board D with a much wider river. And it looks like that might be marsh or swamp. Cool. All right, so now let's take a look at some of these counters here. As I had pointed out before, it looks like we've got quite a few. Oh, it looks like we've got some overlay hexes as well. There's quite a lot to this. All right, so I'm going to actually try to see if we can get a much, much better look at the counters here. So this looks like a lot of informational counters. So we've got improved positions, barbed wire, roadblocks, machine gun bunker, fortifications, rubble, and it is dual-sided here. And then we have our units. Let's start getting into our units here. So we've got artillery. It's like we've got machine guns, mortars, got some armored cars, some early tanks. But as I mentioned before, I really do like the art style. Omanel's asking, is it three-dimensional? Not anything that I've seen. So there we go. Again, dual-sided on that. So it looks like we've got some officers as well as some infantry units. There's a lot of information on these counters. Okay, get some more here. So we've got more infantry units and leaders as well. I gotta say, this is pretty impressive. So more artillery, more armored cars, and other armor fighting vehicles. A little aircraft. Some aircraft counters down there. Here's the, well, actually, you know what? I'll finish up with this counter here. This counter sheet, I should say, here. So once again, more infantry, more leaders. And taking a look at the back. Now, this is the other counter sheet that arrived separately. I mean, it was in the same package, but it was not in the box. So we've got some event shits as well. So it says sheet one back exclusive. So this may have been an additional add-on. All right. But as I had mentioned, it looks like, are these, I guess you cut these out. Oh, we got another board. Got some other, looks like these are some player aids in that, or scenarios. We'll be taking a look at those in a sec. Got a couple of dice. I'm kind of surprised that these aren't on a counter sheet. I thought these were, well, I mean, obviously that you overlay them onto a board, but this is just cardstock. That's kind of strange. And then we've got another board as well. This looks like it's, no, I was going to say, this almost looks like the action is zoomed in because it's a much longer bridge, but the village is the same scale. The little buildings are the same scale. So we've got those. And then we've got battalion morale charts. as well as the terrain effects chart. The odds chart. So there's our combat resolution table. So this is the odds chart, and then this is the combat chart. We have hand-to-hand combat. I don't know. I got to be honest. I don't think this is coming across as being a mid-level complexity. I don't know about you watching this, but to me, this looks pretty complex, which is fine. I'm not saying anything about it. So we have vehicle assault value charts, and it's like armor penetration for nationalist and Republican forces. I think these are events. Yep. So we have some events, which is an optional rule. So that's the event chart. And this is actually in English and Spanish on some of these. So, or that's what it appeared to be. Let's take a look. Let's go back. Oh, maybe not. Just the title kind of threw me off. So it looks like we have 17 scenarios in this. Wow. So we get a breakdown of the historical introduction. This is a fictional scenario telling us what map and how it's oriented. It looks like this is 8 turns. Talking about victory conditions. Give us our orders of battle as well. Also some special rules and historical aftermath, where this is effectively, this is an introductory scenario here. And then we start getting into, it's like that's a historical one here. So that's scenario 2. Here's scenario 3 and 4. So here it shows map A with overlay D and F. But the thing is, and of course, those are the ones you cut out. I'm not sure how you would lay them out. It's not telling you where they go. Maybe it does. Maybe it says on here. Cardstock's very nice and thick on these scenario cards. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. There is a lot in this. Someone else says, yeah, it's a mid-level war game from 1970s Avalon Hill. No, this looks a little more complex than that. Nice. So we got 17 scenarios. We've got a bit of an insert here. So we've got the 17 scenarios. We've got all of our player aid charts, and there are quite a few of those. We've got our overlays here. We've got an additional small board. I think this is the map for the introductory scenario. We've got a bunch of counter sheets. There are a lot of leaders in that in here. I think that's pretty wild too. So we've also got 5 map boards. We have some solitaire information for the solitaire scenario. Got the exclusive rules, as well as the standard rules for the Warstorm series. And that's what we find when we take everything from Help Arrives, from Draco Ideas, outside the box. I will look to hopefully have a review of this in the relatively near future. War games are taking a bit more time for me to get reviews done of unfortunately, lately. But this looks very impressive, especially for a $69.99 effectively price tag. There's a lot going on with this. So I am mighty, mighty impressed. Very cool. Once again, help arrives from Draco Ideas. It's for 2 players, ages 14 and up. Plays in 2 hours or more, depending on your scenario. It also carries an MSRP of 60 euros, 69.69 right now in US dollars by way of the exchange rate. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. Not only let you know when the dispatch streams live, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings, right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. Also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my upcoming review of Hidden Strike, American Revolution from Worthington Publishing. Stay tuned. Should also point out, it's my good buddy, John Welsh, has a couple of exclusive new editions coming out from Worthington Publishing of his Victory Point Games releases. So I believe Cruel Necessity is going to be the first one, and Levy and Mass is the second. Although there's no official word out or anything. There's no like sell sheet info or news. I think they're going to go through Kickstarter on those. But I did want to point out, if you are a fan of John Welsh's games, and he's a good buddy of mine, you're going to get to see deluxe editions from Worthington Publishing. All right. Those of you who watch live, thank you very much. Always appreciate people hanging out in chat, keeping me company. Yeah, keeping this doofus in line. But I do know a lot of you out there don't have an opportunity to watch live. Thank you as well. Maybe you're even watching on Memorex. I don't know. But I certainly do appreciate each and every one of you taking some time out to watch the videos on this channel. We have hit 5,100 subscribers. Not too shabby. I think the last 100 that we got was the fastest ever. So kind of cool. I know for, most outlets, it's no big deal. But to me, it's a big deal. So once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks very much for watching. Everybody enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. I'll be back on Monday. And of course, until I see you next time, here's hoping each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang. Oh, you're still here. Well, while you're kicking it, how about subscribing to the Gaming Gang channel, or seeing the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, or finding out what YouTube recommends you check out here at my channel. And of course, don't forget, get your geek on at thegaminggang.com.